Admiral James Thompson stood at the bridge of the Terran Dawn, his weathered hands clasped behind his back. Through the massive viewport, he watched as hundreds of human ships dropped out of hyperspace, their metal hulls gleaming under distant stars. Each vessel represented the pinnacle of human engineering, sleek, practical, and built for war. The fleet had traveled farther than any human expedition before. After 50 years of preparation and building their forces, humanity was ready to reach for the stars. Their sensors had detected signs of an advanced civilization ahead, and Thompson knew that first contact was inevitable. "Admiral, long-range scans are picking up artificial structures," reported First Officer Miller from his station. "They're massive, possibly space stations or shipyards." Thompson nodded slowly. Earth's intelligence probes had warned them about this. They were approaching the edge of what appeared to be a vast empire, one that stretched across thousands of star systems. "Show me," he ordered. The main display lit up with images that made even the seasoned crew pause. Orbital rings circled distant planets, and space stations floated like artificial moons. The structures dwarfed anything humanity had built, yet Thompson noticed something interesting. Their design hadn't changed in centuries, according to the dating analysis. "Sir, we're detecting incoming ships," Miller announced, his voice steady despite the tension. "They appear to be a patrol fleet. Their weapon systems are primitive compared to ours, but their ships are 3 times the size of our largest vessel." Thompson allowed himself a small smile. Size wasn't everything. Humanity had learned that lesson through countless wars and conflicts. While these aliens had grown comfortable in their empire, humans had been forced to innovate, adapt, and overcome. Every defeat had taught them. Every victory had driven them forward. "Launch our scout drones," Thompson commanded. "Let's see what we're dealing with." Dozens of small, unmanned vessels shot out from the human fleet. These weren't simple probes. They carried the most advanced AI systems ever developed on Earth. Within minutes, they were sending back detailed scans of the Imperial ships. "Their shield technology is impressive," the tactical officer reported, "but their targeting systems are slow. They rely on brute force rather than precision. Our calculations show their response time is 8 times slower than our worst-case estimates." Thompson watched as more Imperial ships arrived. They moved in rigid formations, following textbook maneuvers that hadn't changed in generations. He could almost feel their confusion as they tried to analyze his fleet's unconventional arrangement. A message arrived from Earth Command, displayed on Thompson's private screen. "First contact protocols are authorized. Show them what humanity can do." "Open a channel to all ships," Thompson ordered. As his crew complied, he straightened his uniform. This moment would be remembered in human history forever. The day they announced themselves to the galaxy. "This is Admiral James Thompson of the United Earth Fleet. We come seeking peaceful contact with your civilization." However, he paused, making sure his next words would be recorded clearly. "We are prepared to defend ourselves if necessary. We request a diplomatic meeting with your leaders." The response came quickly. A bombardment of communication protocols, demanding immediate identification and submission to Imperial authority. The translation AI worked quickly, revealing the arrogance in their tone. They weren't used to anyone entering their space without permission. "Sir," Miller reported, "they're scanning us extensively. Their signals suggest they're trying to access our computer systems." Thompson nodded. "Let them try. Our cyber defenses were built to withstand attacks from millions of Earth's best hackers. These Imperial protocols are outdated." As the Imperial ships drew closer, Thompson could see his crew's confidence growing. Humanity had prepared for this moment for decades. They had built their fleet knowing they would face older, larger civilizations. But age didn't equal advancement, and size didn't equal strength. "All ships maintain current positions," Thompson ordered. "Let them come to us. Remember your training. We're about to show this empire what humanity can do." The first meeting between humanity and a galactic empire was about to begin. And despite the empire's size and age, Thompson knew one thing for certain. They had never encountered anything like humanity before. Lord Marcus walked through the gleaming halls of the Imperial Palace, his long robes sweeping across the polished floor. Emergency lights flashed silently through the crystal windows, a sight not seen in the capital for over 300 years. Behind him, other council members whispered in worried tones. The High Council chamber doors opened automatically, revealing a massive round table surrounded by the most powerful beings in the galaxy. At the center of the table, a hologram showed the strange fleet that had entered Imperial space. "These vessels," Lord Marcus began, his voice carrying across the chamber, "they're unlike anything we've seen before." He gestured at the hologram, and it zoomed in on one of the human ships. Smaller than our cruisers, yet our scans can barely pierce their hulls. General Reed, the Imperial Fleet Commander, stepped forward. "My lords, these intruders refuse to follow proper protocols. They've rejected our demands for surrender. Their ships maintain unusual formations that our tactical computers cannot predict." The council members muttered among themselves. For thousands of years, the Empire had encountered new species, and all had eventually bowed before Imperial might. These humans were different. "Show us their response to our demands," ordered Lord Marcus. The hologram changed, showing Admiral Thompson's message. The human stood straight, showing no fear or submission. His words were clear and direct. "The United Earth Fleet does not surrender to threats. We are willing to discuss peaceful relations as equals, or we can demonstrate why that would be your wisest choice." "Arrogant creatures," one council member spat. "They don't understand their position." Lord Marcus wasn't so sure. He had studied the initial reports carefully. These humans had developed technologies that worked differently from Imperial standards. Their ships carried weapons that the Empire's sensors couldn't properly analyze. Most worrying of all, their computer systems had easily deflected every Imperial cyber attack. "General," Lord Marcus said, "what do we know about their homeworld?" General Reed activated a new hologram. "They call it Earth, a single planet that somehow unified its population and developed space travel independently. Our deep space monitors show they've only had faster-than-light technology for less than a century." This caused more murmurs around the table. Such rapid development was unheard of. Most species took thousands of years to reach that level, and always with Imperial guidance. "My lords," a science advisor spoke up, "we've detected something unusual about their ships. They appear to be designed for combat efficiency rather than display of power. Our analysis suggests their weapons are focused on precision rather than raw force. They've developed targeting systems that operate faster than our own." Lord Marcus watched the hologram carefully. The human ships moved with purpose, their formations fluid and adaptable. They showed none of the rigid patterns that Imperial doctrine required. It was unsettling. "They must be taught their place," General Reed declared. "I recommend an immediate show of force. One Imperial dreadnought should be enough to—" "No," Lord Marcus interrupted. "Send 3 dreadnoughts, and full battle groups to support them." He turned to face the council. "We must crush this threat completely. These humans are too dangerous to be allowed any chance of survival." The council members nodded in agreement, but Lord Marcus noticed something in their eyes he hadn't seen before. Fear. For the first time in centuries, the Empire faced an enemy that didn't follow the expected rules. As the council dispersed to carry out his orders, Lord Marcus remained behind, studying the hologram of the human fleet. Their ships were ugly by Imperial standards. No gold trim, no decorative spires, just pure functionality. They looked like they were built for one purpose: war. "Computer," he commanded, "show me their fleet movements again." As he watched the replay, a chill ran down his spine. These humans moved like predators, not prey. The Empire had grown used to crushing primitive species that couldn't defend themselves. But these humans, they looked ready for a fight. And for the first time in his long life, Lord Marcus wasn't certain the Empire would win. Captain Robert Wells stood in the meeting chamber of the Imperial Diplomatic Station, trying not to show his amazement at the massive crystal windows that looked out into space. The human delegation was small, just him and two others, while the Imperial side had filled their half of the room with dozens of officials and guards. "Your ships will power down weapons and submit to Imperial authority," the Imperial diplomat said. He was tall and wore elaborate robes covered in symbols of rank. "This is not a negotiation. It is your only warning." Wells smiled politely. He had dealt with bullies before, both on Earth and during his years of space exploration. The Empire was just a bigger version of the same thing. "I'm afraid that won't be possible," he said calmly. "We're here to discuss peaceful cooperation between equals." The Imperial diplomat's face turned dark with anger. "Equals." He spat the word like it tasted bad. "The Empire has ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. Your species had barely discovered fire when we built our first Dyson sphere." Wells noticed something interesting. Despite their fancy clothes and big talk, the Imperial guards carried weapons that looked old. Not well-aged, but outdated, like they hadn't been improved in centuries. "Age doesn't always mean wisdom," Wells replied. He touched a small device on his wrist, and a hologram appeared between them. It showed Earth's history, but not the version the Empire expected. "Humanity fought itself for thousands of years," Wells explained. "Each war taught us something new. We learned to adapt, to improve, to overcome any challenge." The hologram showed human weapons evolving, from swords to guns to energy weapons. "We didn't have the luxury of peace. We had to earn it." The Imperial diplomat laughed, but Wells saw fear in his eyes. "You speak of war as if it's something to be proud of. The Empire brings peace through order." "Peace through submission, you mean," Wells corrected him. The hologram changed, showing the human fleet. "We built our ships knowing we might meet someone like you. Every weapon, every shield, every system was designed to fight enemies stronger than us. We don't want war, but we're very, very good at it." The Imperial guards shifted uncomfortably. Their scanners had already told them that the human weapons were different, more advanced in ways they didn't understand. "You dare threaten the Empire?" the diplomat shouted. "We will crush your fleet. We will destroy your world. We will." "No," Wells interrupted, his voice still calm. "You won't." He pressed another button on his wrist device. New holograms appeared, showing Imperial worlds. "While we've been talking, our stealth ships have mapped your territory. We know where your shipyards are, your supply lines, your weak points." The room went silent. The Imperial officials stared at the holograms, their faces pale. They hadn't detected any human scout ships. Their security systems had seen nothing. "This meeting is over," the Imperial diplomat declared. "You will regret your arrogance." Wells watched them leave, then spoke quietly into his communicator. "Admiral Thompson, they reacted exactly as we expected. Prepare the fleet." Back on the Terran Dawn, Admiral Thompson received the message and nodded. The diplomatic meeting had never been about making peace. It was about showing the Empire what they faced, a humanity that had grown strong through struggle, not wealthy through conquest. "All ships, battle stations," Thompson ordered. "The Empire's about to learn why you should never underestimate humans." As Wells's shuttle returned to the fleet, he looked back at the Imperial station. The Empire had spent thousands of years believing they were unbeatable. They had forgotten something important. True strength comes from overcoming challenges, not avoiding them. The Empire was about to face its greatest challenge ever, and humanity was ready to show them exactly what 10,000 years of peace had cost them. 3 Imperial dreadnoughts emerged from hyperspace, each one bigger than a small city. Behind them came dozens of support ships, their golden hulls shining in the starlight. They formed a perfect attack pattern, just as they had done for thousands of years. Admiral Thompson watched them approach on the Terran Dawn's main screen. Right on schedule, he said quietly. They're using the same tactics from their military handbook. Battle Eye, are you seeing this? Affirmative, Admiral. The ship's eye responded. Imperial ships are moving exactly as our simulations predicted. Their attack patterns haven't changed in over 500 years. The Imperial fleet launched their first attack, a massive wave of energy weapons fire. It looked impressive, lighting up space like artificial suns, but Thompson just smiled. Activate defense pattern Delta, he ordered. The human fleet moved as one, their formation shifting like a school of fish. Most of the Imperial shots missed completely. The few that hit were absorbed by shields that the Empire's sensors couldn't even detect properly. Sir, they're sending another message. First Officer Miller reported. They're demanding our surrender again. Send them our response, Thompson said. All ships, execute Battle Plan 1. The human fleet split into smaller groups, moving in ways that made no sense to Imperial tacticians. Their ships spun and weaved, presenting smaller targets while maintaining perfect firing positions. Centuries of war on Earth had taught humans that survival meant never being where the enemy expected you to be. The first human shots were precisely targeted. They didn't aim for the Imperial ship's main hulls. That would have been a waste of energy. Instead, they hit specific weak points that the Empire didn't even know they had. Shield generators failed. Weapon systems went dark. Communication arrays died. Their shields are adapting. An Imperial captain shouted in panic. These humans, their weapons keep changing frequency. That was another lesson from Earth's wars. Never use the same attack twice. Each human ship carried weapons that could change their properties mid-battle, preventing the enemy from developing countermeasures. The smallest human ships darted between the massive Imperial vessels. Too quick to hit, they released swarms of combat drones, each one controlled by an AI smarter than most Imperial computers. The drones found gaps in the Imperial defenses that had existed for centuries but had never been exploited. The lead dreadnought's main reactor is exposed. The Battle AI reported. Their design hasn't been updated in 700 years. They never fixed the cooling system vulnerability. Thompson nodded. Target locked. All ships, fire. Dozens of human ships fired at once, their shots perfectly synchronized. The Imperial dreadnought's shields had been designed to stop brute force attacks, not the precise, coordinated strikes that humans had perfected. The massive ship's reactor went dark. Emergency systems that hadn't been tested in centuries failed to activate. The pride of the Imperial fleet drifted helplessly in space. The other dreadnoughts are pulling back, Miller reported. They're retreating. The Imperial ships turned and fled, their perfect formations forgotten. They had never expected to face an enemy that could actually hurt them. Their crews had trained for show, not survival. Thompson watched them run. Send a message to Earth Command, he ordered. First engagement successful. Minimal damage to our fleet. The Empire's technology is advanced but outdated. They'd forgotten how to fight real battles. The Terran Dawn's crew cheered, but Thompson kept his eyes on the tactical display. This was just the beginning. The Empire would be back, probably with an even bigger fleet. But they would still be using the same old tactics, the same unchanging strategies. Humanity, on the other hand, would have something new waiting for them. They always did. That's what separated them from the Empire. Humans never stopped learning, never stopped improving. All ships, begin damage assessment, Thompson ordered. And start analyzing the battle data. I want new tactics ready before they come back. Let's show them what happens when you fight an enemy who evolved through combat, not comfort. Lord Marcus stared at the battle recordings for the 100th time. The massive Imperial war room was dark except for the hologram showing the human fleet's victory. Around him, military advisors watched in silence as their mighty dreadnoughts were defeated by ships half their size. Play it again, he ordered. Focus on their attack patterns. The scene replayed. This time, he saw what he had missed before. The human ships moved like they expected every shot. every maneuver. They had studied Imperial tactics so well that they knew what would happen before it did. "My lord," General Reed's voice shook slightly. "We've lost contact with 3 more border stations. The humans, they're not just winning battles. They're learning from each one." A new advisor stepped forward, someone from the younger generation. "Our ships report that human weapons change during battle. When we adapt our shields to block one type of attack, they switch to something new. We've never seen anything like it." Lord Marcus walked to the giant window overlooking the capital city. For 10,000 years, the Empire had grown fat and lazy on easy victories. They built bigger ships, not better ones. They added more weapons, but never improved them. "Show me their latest attack," he commanded. A hologram changed. This time, the human fleet was even more effective. They had already learned from their first victory and created new tactics. Imperial ships that took hours to change strategy were facing an enemy that adapted in minutes. "We found something else, my lord," the young advisor said. "Their ships, they're controlled by some kind of artificial intelligence, but not like our computer systems. These AIs think and learn. They work with their human crews, not just follow orders." The room fell silent. The Empire had banned true AI centuries ago, calling it too dangerous. But these humans had embraced it, made it part of their military strength. "What are our casualties so far?" Lord Marcus asked quietly. General Reed looked at his reports. 3 dreadnoughts destroyed, 7 disabled, 22 support ships lost. And, he hesitated, 4 planetary defense stations have gone dark. The humans aren't just defeating our ships. They're starting to take our territory. Lord Marcus turned to face his advisors. He saw fear in their eyes, but also something else, respect. For the first time in living memory, the Empire faced an enemy they couldn't simply crush with brute force. "My lord," the young advisor spoke again, "there's more. We've detected signals from some of our outer worlds. They're talking to the humans. Some of them are offering to help them." This was even worse. The Empire had ruled through fear and power for so long that they'd forgotten how to earn loyalty. Now, at the first sign of weakness, their subjects were ready to turn against them. "Send word to all Imperial shipyards," Lord Marcus ordered. "Begin upgrading our fleets. Copy the human designs if you have to. We need to adapt, or we'll lose everything." But even as he gave the order, he knew it might be too late. The Empire had spent thousands of years perfecting one way of war. The humans had spent their history learning to fight in any way necessary to win. "There's one more thing," General Reed added. "Our spies report that this isn't even their full fleet. The humans are holding forces in reserve, protecting their home system. What we're facing, it's just their advance force." Lord Marcus looked back at the hologram of the human ships. They were ugly by Imperial standards. No gold, no decorations, just pure function. But they were beautiful in their own way, like perfectly designed weapons. "For 10,000 years, he said softly, "we've been the strongest force in the galaxy. But we forgot something important. True strength doesn't come from having power. It comes from knowing how to use it." The humans hadn't forgotten that lesson. And now the Empire was paying the price for its complacency. Captain Robert Wells stood in a secret meeting room on a distant trading station. Around him sat representatives from 12 different alien species. Each one had suffered under Imperial rule for centuries. Each one had watched as humanity did the impossible, fought the Empire, and won. "Your weapons," a tall, blue-skinned trader said, "they're different from anything we've seen. The Empire always told us they had the most advanced technology in the galaxy." Wells smiled. The Empire got comfortable. They stopped improving. On Earth, we had to keep making better weapons just to survive our own wars. He activated a hologram showing Earth's history. Every time we faced a new challenge, we adapted. That's why our ships can beat theirs. We never stopped learning. Another alien, this one looking like a wise old tree, spoke up. "We've been gathering information for you. Imperial fleet movements, defense codes, patrol routes. The Empire never thought we could be a threat. They never hid these things from us." That was typical Imperial thinking. They were so sure of their power that they never considered their servants might turn against them. Wells had seen it before in Earth's history. Every empire fell the same way. "Admiral Thompson's fleet has already taken control of 3 sectors," Wells explained. "But we need your help to do more. You know this part of space better than we do. You know the Empire's weaknesses." The aliens shared looks among themselves. They had waited centuries for this chance. Now these humans, these newcomers who weren't afraid of the Empire, were offering them freedom. "The Empire's ships are already changing," a small, quick-looking alien reported. "They're trying to copy your technology, but they don't understand how it works. Their crews don't know how to use the new systems." Wells nodded. This was another advantage humans had. They built their own technology. They understood how everything worked because they had developed it themselves. The Empire just copied things without understanding them. "We received word from Earth," Wells told them. "Our main fleet is ready to move, but before they arrive, we need to weaken the Empire from within." He looked at each alien in turn. "Your people can help us do that." One by one, the aliens agreed to join the human cause. Some offered ships, others promised intelligence or supplies. The Empire had ruled them through fear for thousands of years. But humans offered something different: hope. Back on the Terran Dawn, Admiral Thompson received Wells' report with satisfaction. "Show me the new Alliance positions," he ordered. The tactical display lit up with green dots showing friendly forces. There were more than he expected. The Empire's cruel rule had created many enemies. All they needed was someone strong enough to lead them. "Sir," his AI reported, "our new allies are already causing problems for the Empire. 3 supply convoys have been raided. 2 communication centers are offline. The Empire's trying to fight a war on multiple fronts now." Thompson smiled. The Empire had built the biggest fleet in the galaxy, but they forgot something important. Ships needed supplies. Crews needed food. Weapons needed ammunition. And now, their supply lines were being cut by the very people they had ruled over. "Send word to Earth," he ordered. "Tell them it's time. Launch the main fleet." As he gave the order, Thompson thought about how strange it was. Humanity, the newcomers to space, were about to change the history of the galaxy. They had done it not just with superior technology or better tactics, but by offering something the Empire never did: friendship instead of fear. "The Empire won't expect this," Miller said, looking at the growing number of Allied forces. "They think everyone is as power-hungry as they are." "That's their biggest mistake," Thompson replied. "They never understood that real strength comes from working together. And now, they're about to learn that lesson the hard way." The Imperial capital world shook as thousands of ships dropped out of hyperspace. The human main fleet had arrived, joining their advance forces and alien allies. Their ships filled the sky, blocking out the stars. But unlike Imperial ships, they weren't there just to show power. They were there to end a war. Lord Marcus watched from the High Council chamber as his worst fears came true. The humans hadn't just brought ships. They had brought hope to every species the Empire had crushed under its rule. And now those species had joined forces with humanity. "The human fleet is hailing us," an aide reported, his voice shaking. "Put them through," Lord Marcus ordered. He already knew what they would say. Admiral Thompson's image appeared before the council. He wasn't wearing fancy clothes like Imperial leaders. His uniform was plain and practical, like everything humans made. "Your Empire has a choice," Thompson said simply. "Surrender and help us build a better galaxy, or watch your power crumble completely. We're not here to destroy you. We're here to change things." The council members looked at each other nervously. Through the windows, they could see human ships easily destroying the capital's defense platforms. Their weapons changed faster than Imperial shields could adapt. Their tactics were unlike anything Imperial commanders could counter. "You can't just end 10,000 years of Imperial rule," one council member shouted. "We already have," Thompson replied calmly. "Half your worlds have joined us. Your fleets are cut off from their supplies. Your own people are turning against you. The Empire as you knew it is already over." Lord Marcus stepped forward. He had seen enough battles to know when one was lost. "What are your terms?" The terms were not what anyone expected. The humans didn't want to destroy the Empire. They wanted to transform it. Every species would have equal rights. Every world would have a voice in government. The Empire's technology and resources would be shared, not hoarded. "Your Empire taught everyone that strength means crushing others," Thompson explained. "We're going to show them something different. Real strength comes from lifting others up, not pushing them down." As the council listened, human ships continued their work. They didn't bomb cities or destroy infrastructure. Instead, they precisely disabled military targets and freed Imperial prisons. They showed everyone watching that power could be used with wisdom, not just force. "The choice is yours," Thompson said. "But know this, we won't leave until things change." Humanity didn't come this far to let another empire rule through fear. Lord Marcus looked at his fellow council members. He saw the truth in their eyes. The Empire had grown weak by making everyone else weak. These humans had grown strong by facing challenges and helping others become strong too. "We accept your terms," Lord Marcus said finally. "The Empire as we knew it is ended." The next few hours changed the galaxy forever. The treaty wasn't just about peace. It was about building something new. Humans shared their technology freely, teaching others how to improve and adapt. Their AI systems helped coordinate the massive changes needed to transform the Empire into something better. Admiral Thompson stood on the Terran Dawn's bridge, watching the sun rise over the Imperial capital. Beside him, alien allies worked with his crew, learning from each other. This was humanity's greatest victory, not destroying an empire, but helping build a better one. "Send word to Earth," he ordered. "Tell them it's done. The galaxy is entering a new age." As his message was sent, Thompson thought about how far humanity had come. They had reached the stars expecting to find enemies, but instead, they had found people who needed hope. The Empire had tried to rule the galaxy through fear. Humanity would help lead it through friendship. The new age had begun, and this time, no one would face the future alone.